Super Smash Bros. One of the most beloved video game franchises in recent memory, and for good reason. Seeing the franchise grow from a simple Nintendo crossover game to a huge event that is a huge celebration of video games in general, with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate being the magnum opus of the series, with the DLC wrapping up with Sora, who was a perfect final fighter. Flash forward to today, and Smash fans are now like...
Now what?
Many people have speculated what could be in store for the next Smash Bros. Game, with the most prominent discussion being about the next game's roster. As such, many people have made Smash Bros. Dream roster mock-ups, showcasing what fighters they want to see in the next Smash Bros. Game. Thing is, not all of these Smash Bros. Dream rosters are created equally. So today, I have gathered 11 YouTubers, and I'm going to be ranking them in a tier list based on how good their Super Smash Bros. Roster is. From peak Smash Bros. To never cook again. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get it on. First YouTuber we will be discussing is wumblewasp. His roster is found in the video Super Smash Bros. 6 Ideas and Predictions number 5. Let's take a look. Alright, this is a pretty decent roster. Let's take a closer look though. First up, the first party lineup is great. The returning characters are good and the new first party characters are top notch, like Paper Mario, Impa, and Noah. That said, this roster isn't perfect, and those imperfections are found with the third parties. Now Ultimate didn't just raise the standards for third party characters, it rebuilt them from the ground up. So the new and old third party characters are kind of a big deal. The returning ones are fine, but the newcomers are a bit questionable. There's only 2 of them, with both of them being Crash Bandicoot and Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. I'm fine with Crash since he is one of, if not the most requested character for Smash Bros, and could be a fun and unique character. But Ryu on the other hand is a bit more questionable. It's a matter of why he was chosen over the more popular third-party characters, like Rayman, Spyro, Master Chief from Halo, Shantae, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, the Doomslayer from Doom, Heavy from Team Fortress 2, Dante from Devil May Cry, and Dr. Eggman from Sonic, as I see these characters talked about more consistently for Smash Bros. Than Ryu. Plus, I think the characters I mentioned are more fun and unique than Ryu. Like, who would you rather play as? A space-age marine that slaughtered thousands of demons with his bare hands? Or a plain-ass ninja? Still, this is a good roster, a roster deserving of B tier. Next up, we have a roster made by the YouTuber Pizza Dude Man Guy. Let's have a look. Alright, this is already an improvement over Wasp's roster for many reasons, such as a huge lineup of third-party characters, the introduction of more niche first-party characters like Andy from Advance Wars and the Ring Fit trainee, and the Legend of Zelda series was finally done justice by having many actually unique characters. However, my favorite aspect is what he did with the Fire Emblem franchise. Now, it's no secret that the Fire Emblem franchise is infamous in the Smash community. From having more characters than Nintendo's or other popular franchises, like Kirby and Kid Icarus, to all of them using swords making them feel samey, as well as 6 out of the 8 of them are the main characters of their respective games. As such, many Smash rosters have 4, 3, or even 2 Fire Emblem characters. However, PDMG did Fire Emblem justice, by having a mix of main characters and side characters, all of whom represent different weapons in the Fire Emblem universe. He kept Marth and Robin to represent the Sword Fighter and Tome classes respectively, but he also added Azura to represent the Lance class and be Korn's replacement as the Fates rep, Edelgard to represent the Axe class and be Byleth's replacement as the Three Houses rep, and Anna to represent the Bow and Staff class. Hell, these characters aren't even limited to their base weapons and can use various other powers from their games. Azura can fight with her lance, but she can also utilize her dancing, singing, and water manipulation skills as well, for example. With all that said, this is easily peak Smash Bros. Next up on our list is the YouTuber Mystery Maker. And not to be a jerk or anything, but this is easily the weakest roster we've seen, so far at least. First off, I'm fine with the first party reps, even if some of the first party cuts are highly sus, like Little Mac, Rosalina, and Mr. Game & Watch. My real issues arise with the third party characters. It's honestly weak cheese, not gonna lie. There's only 7, which I'm fine with. It's who those 7 are is what I have an issue with. Out of the 7 third-party characters, 5 of them are Capcom characters. And he cut Pac-Man for God knows what reason. Since, you know, Bandai Namco helped make the last few Smash games, and Pac-Man is one of the most iconic video game characters in history. Still, it could have been much worse. Much worse. So I'll throw him in C tier. Next up is DKGM. This roster is the definition of good, but not great. The first party characters are missing some big faces like Rosalie and Jigglypuff, as well as having some questionable newcomer choices. Like no Waluigi or Bandana Waddle Dee, but instead, Mac Ryder. The third party characters more than make up for the first party characters, however. We have Isaac from Golden Sun, M. Bison from Street Fighter, and Crash, Rayman, and Scorpion, who I mentioned earlier. He even threw in Sub-Zero as an Egger fighter with Scorpion. So despite being flawed in the first party department, I'm going to give DKGM a B tier. Next up is Slade Lucas, and okay, this is looking pretty good. The first party veterans are justifiable, and the first party newcomers are stellar, with Ashley, Impa, Bandana Waddle Dee, and Tom Nook giving the Wario, Legend of Zelda, Kirby, and Animal Crossing franchises the boost and representation that they desperately need. Now for the third party Wait. Where are the third party characters? Yeah, so this roster cut all third-party characters, which coming off of Ultimate would obviously make so many fans disappointed. Lucas does actually justify the lack of third-party characters with 3 main reasons. 1, to cut back on licensing costs, 2, to give the series a more softer reboot feel, and 3, there is still the DLC characters, bringing new and possibly old characters. I'll let you guys decide if those are valid points, but for now, I'll put him in C tier with Mystery Maker. Next up is the Dexus show, and his roster is simply incredible. The biggest issue with this roster is that it had many risky cuts, like Falco, Bowser Jr., Jigglypuff, and Diddy Kong, but the third party lineup is damn near flawless. You got Crash, Rayman, Shovel Knight, Shantae, Heavy, the Doomslayer, Dante from Devil May Cry, and Jonesy from Fortnite. He also has a ton of great first party newcomers, like Impa, Bandana Dee, Paper Mario, and Skull Kid. Another issue is that it feels a bit oversaturated when it comes to the third-party characters. Nonetheless, it is still a fantastic roster, and the first and third-party characters are amazing picks, so I'm going to put the Dexus show in the S tier. Next up is a YouTuber called New Oasis. This roster could have been A tier, but can't because of one thing. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So for the first party characters, the veterans are really good. Mainly since he chose the characters that were the most important in Nintendo's history. His first party newcomers are pretty weak though. He only has 5 base game newcomers. And the first party newcomers were Crystal, Captain Toad, and the Chorus Kids, who aren't that good choices in comparison to other first party characters. The third party characters in the base game are horrible. He only has 3, and they are Sonic, Metal Sonic, and Shovel Knight. Though the lack of third parties is remedied with the DLC he proposes, which is solid overall, bringing in characters like Rayman, Shantae, and Klonoa. Though having 4 of the 12 characters he suggests for DLC be returning characters is a bit scummy. Overall, I would give this roster an A, but there is one problem. The character select screen itself. This might be the most hideous character select screen I have ever seen in my life.
This is disgusting! This is disgusting!
It is so unorganized on so many levels. For example, the roster starts with Mario, then Donkey Kong, and you think to yourself, oh, so he's doing what Ultimate did in ordering the characters based on when they debut. But then next in line is King K. Rool, and you think to yourself, wait, so they are organized by series? But if that's the case, then where are the other Mario characters? Then the order continues as Samus/Dark Samus, Yoshi, and then Kirby. Then you think, wait, so he is doing it by debut order? Then why was King K. Rool shoved in the middle of the line? Then you see Fox, Falco, and Wolf all grouped up together, and you know what, I'm just gonna stop here. You can easily view the roster itself and see how unorganized it is. But seriously, because of how sloppy the character select screen is, I can't give New Oasis anything higher than a B tier. Next up is Scott the Waz. Now, this guy is highly respectable and he's a huge YouTuber. He's probably the most recognizable YouTuber on this list. Me personally, I love Scott the Waz. He's funny, charismatic, and he's an overall top tier YouTuber. With that being said, his roster fucking sucks, bro. First of all, the overall size of the roster is downright puny, at only 29 returning characters. Then the choices for who he cut were awful. So many beloved characters are gone, and I'm not joking either. This roster has no Jigglypuff, no Ice Climbers, no Falco, no Meta Knight, no Ike? Ike is like one of the only Fire Emblem characters the Smash community actually likes. No Pokemon Trainer, no Wolf, no Rosalina, no Little Mac, no Palutena, no Shulk, no Bowser Jr., no Isabelle, no King K. Rool, and he only kept one of the 3 Mii fighters for some reason. But you wanna know what makes this already bad roster worse? He cut every single third-party character. I'm not exaggerating. Literally every single third party has been cut. Not even Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man were spared. I bring these 3 up specifically because Scott himself said that these are the 3 most essential third-party characters in any Smash Bros. Game.
And the third-party roundup, it's absolutely perfect. Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man are the definitive 3 third-party characters who need to be in Smash Bros. In my opinion.
Now you may be thinking, the returning roster may be bad, but are the new characters good and make up for it? No. First up, he suggests 10 or so newcomers should be in this game, and he pitches ideas for 5. Professor Layton, Chibi Robo, Tingle, Paper Mario, and the goddamn Sandbag. Not only are none of these guys third parties, Layton is technically a second party character, and Scott himself says Layton to him is a Nintendo character.
He may be a level 5 creation, but most of his games were published by Nintendo here in the West, so to me, he's a Nintendo character.
There are other non-third party characters like Waluigi, Lyn, Bandinity, Octoling, and Dixie Kong, who are leagues more popular than some of the other characters. We could add the characters I suggested, but then we would have 10 newcomers and we would have no new third parties. We could have the remaining 5 be third parties, but I know people would be livid if characters like Waluigi, Bandinity, and Lyn got shunned in favor of Sandbag. Do you see the dilemma we're in? I could go on about some of Scott's other baffling decisions, such as the story mode doing the bare minimum when it comes to cutscenes.
I loved how Brawl featured awesome CGI cutscenes and how we saw characters interact for the first time. The CGI is expensive. We could swing with like 15 to 20 minutes of cutscenes overall.
Having every stage be new, snuffing out every fan favorite stage.
That's why, like with the characters, I propose less overall stages, maybe around 40 in total, but with all of them being brand new and the amount of stages as a whole being a more equal representation of each franchise and Nintendo as a whole.
And God forbid, bring the franchise into a 3D plane.
But it may be interesting to try something a little different, possibly a 3D take on the Smash Bros. Formula like Power Stone.
And I know I'm not alone on my assessment, because many people agree that Scott should absolutely not be making a Smash Bros. Game. Scott, I love you, but please, for the love of all that is holy, never cook again. Okay, this is a big one. Like, a huge one. If you look at the video's timeline and use the chapter feature, you'll notice that this next segment is the longest of the other segments. And that is for good reason. Because this next YouTuber, known as Marvelous Matt, in his video simply titled Super Smash Bros. 6 Dream Roster, is by far the most interesting roster we will be talking about. A simple rundown won't do this roster justice. I want to properly analyze this roster. At first glance, it doesn't seem out of the ordinary, with some decent character picks like Ness, Luigi, and Big Daddy from Bioshock. Come on, Bioshock deserves to be represented. That game was art. Everybody loves Bioshock. Except for these clowns, and for both stupid reasons and reasons they don't elaborate on.
Big Daddy from Bioshock?
F. Fuck that game.
F?
Fuck that game. Fuck
Isn't
Bioshock.
this game, like, weird?
It's
Okay.
weird, and the creator sucks, and I fucking hate Bioshock.
I'll put it in
And
I'll
it's
put it in
and it's a little racist in the third one, and I fucking.
You shut the fuck
But
up!
also,
You shut the fuck
let it
up!
get you a little bit.
You shut the fuck up! You shut the fuck up! I hope you die in a fire!
However, you actually sit down and watch this video, and you will find the most interesting Smash Bros. Roster by far, like I said. There are 4 main things I want to talk about. The title of his Dream Smash Bros. Game, the size of his roster, and 2 classified points that I will discuss later. So starting with the name of the game, it is Ultimate Super Smash Bros. Universe X Battle Royale Ignition. That is a very long-winded title, to the point where you can split it into 5 smaller titles. Now for the size of the roster. This roster has way too many characters. Like, way too many characters. I know I just grilled Scott the Wasp for having a small roster, but I want a Smash game where there is enough characters to where it doesn't feel underwhelming or overwhelming. In fact, you want to know how many characters this roster has exactly? 706. Yeah, 706. How did I get that number? Well, it was actually quite simple. This video is a no commentary slideshow of sorts. When you start the video, it will show you the title of the Smash Bros. Game, but then it will open with a slide of 8 characters that Matt wants to see in the next Smash Bros. Game. Then it will eventually transition into a new slide with a new batch of 8 characters. Then it will once again transition to a new slide with a new batch of 8 characters, then eventually another, and so on. So I simply counted the amount of slides and multiplied by 8, giving me 704. But since all the Mii fighters are crammed into 1 square, I added 2. Now you may be asking, where did Matt get that many video game characters? Here is the simple answer. Nowhere. Well, what I mean is, this roster has 706 characters, but the thing is, not all of them are actually video game characters. And this is where the first classified reason is revealed. The sheer abundance of non-video game characters. As you no doubt notice in the footage I've shown you, there are a decent amount of non-video game characters. This is only scratching the surface of what non-video game characters are on this roster. In fact, I'm going to list some of the most notable non-video game characters that appear in this video. Some of the non-video game characters present in this video are as follows. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Nick Fury, Bucky Barnes, Captain Marvel, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Falcon, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, Deadpool, Wolverine, The Silver Surfer, Phoenix, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, Thing, Cyclops, Storm, Magneto, MODOK, She-Hulk, Ghost Rider, Thanos, Ultron, Loki, the Green Goblin, Doctor Doom, Venom, and Carnage from the Marvel series, Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, Trunks, and Piccolo from Dragon Ball, Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi from Naruto, Luffy from One Piece, Deku and All Might from My Hero Academia. Every single f***ing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, along with Master Splinter, the Shredder, and a whole bunch of other TMNT characters. All 5 of the goddamn main Sailor Scouts. Every single f***ing member of Team Ruby. Every single f***ing Tokyo Mew Mew member. Every single f***ing Lego Ninjago character. Ben 10, Generator Rex, Korra, Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls, Mr. Incredible, Larry the Cucumber, Wreck-It Ralph, Mickey Mouse, Hellboy, Spawn, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, even more Sailor Moon characters, Saitama from One Punch Man, Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan, Kirito and Asuna from Sword Art Online, Yoko Littner from Gurren Lagann, Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill, Aqua from Konosuba, Asuka from Evangelion, Inuyasha from Inuyasha, Ichigo from Bleach, Zatsu from Fairy Tail, Gon from Hunter x Hunter, Hiroro from Sergeant Frog, Maka from Soul Eater, Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho, Madoka from Madoka Magica, Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, I'm gonna stop there. You probably already get the point. You already probably know why this is a problem. Smash Bros is heavily focused on being a crossover of video game characters only, so adding all these characters in will ruin the appeal of Smash Bros. Now you may be asking, what about the actual video game characters? Well, that's the fourth thing I will talk about, the actual video game characters. It is fantastic. So many iconic characters from all throughout gaming history. Along with every character in Ultimate returning, there is an avalanche of newcomers that are video game characters, of course. Here's a list of some of the most notable characters that appear in this roster. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Rayman, Master Chief from Halo, Shantae and Risky Boost from Shantae, Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us, The Hunter from Bloodborne, Aloy from Horizon, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Parappa the Rappa, Sackboy from Little Big Planet, Spike from Ape Escape, Kratos and Zeus from God of War, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, Cole McGrath and his evil counterpart from Infamous, Nariko from Heavenly Sword, Dante from Devil May Cry, Raiden from Metal Gear Rising, Big Daddy from Bioshock, Sir Daniel Fortescue from Medieval, Colonel Raddick from Killzone, Fat Princess, Heihachi from Tekken, Toro, Nathan Hale and a Chimera Hybrid from Resistance Fall of Man, Cat from Gravity Rush, Emmett Green's from Starhawk, Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, Phoenix Wright from Ace Attorney, the Doomslayer from Doom, Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption, 2B from Nier Automata, Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, Arlie from Puyo Puyo, Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark, Raz from Psychonauts, Rash from Battletoads, Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes, the Dovahkiin from Skyrim, Altair from Assassin's Creed, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, and Raiden from Mortal Kombat, Nightmare from Soul Calibur, Soul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear, Hitomi from Dead or Alive, Fulgore from Killer Instinct, Crypto from Destroy All Humans, Earthworm Jim, Frank West from Dead Rising, The Monster Hunter, Edna and Laharl from Disgaea, Cosmic Curio from Yakuza, Shovel Knight, Philia from Skullgirls, The Castle Crashers, Cuphead, Yooka-Laylee, Sash Lilac from Freedom Planet, Meat Boy, The Worm from Worms, Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day, Klonoa, Red from Angry Birds, Heavy from TF2, Gordon Freeman from Half-Life, Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, II from Monkey Ball, Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, and Maxwell from Scribblenauts. Okay, I'm going to stop there. He basically just took the characters from all the most notable games in history. There are other first-party inclusions here and there, but come on. The third-party characters are the main attraction here. So is this video game lineup perfect? Actually, no. While there are many good picks for Smash Bros. Here, there are many video game characters he chose that are not good picks, honestly. However, the reasons as to why these characters can't get in Smash are more interesting, because with the non-video game characters we discussed earlier, them not originating from a video game automatically disqualified them. But with video game characters, there are all kinds of ways they're not good picks. Maybe they're not a good pick for Smash Bros. Because they're too sexualized. Maybe they're not a good pick for Smash Bros. Because they have a bad moveset potential, or they'll have the main appeal of their game gutted. Maybe they're not a good choice because their game/series is infamous for being hated. Maybe they're not a good choice for Smash Bros. Because they are just an odd choice to represent their franchise. I could go into more detail on why these characters are in their respective categories, but I don't want Marvelous Matt's section, and by extension this video, to be longer than it already is. If you want a separate video where I actually go more in depth with these characters on screen, let me know. Now, with all that being said, this is the best roster in this video, and by a significant margin too. I mean, yeah, we're obviously never gonna get a Smash Bros. Game where Sailor Moon, Optimus Prime, Mr. Incredible, and Larry the Cucumber can fight a free-for-all match on Avengers Tower with Gus, Bellows, and Beatles. But in a vacuum, this roster has everything. It has literally every character returning from Ultimate, along with a tsunami of newcomers, both from video games and not from video games. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but Marvelous Matt's roster is peak Smash Bros. Next up is Jaren. His roster is pretty solid. The first party veterans are good choices with lots of amazing newcomers like Impa, Funky Kong, and Mio. The third party characters really shine here though, with some of the most iconic video game characters ever, like Kratos, Master Chief, Crash, and Scorpion. I don't really have any complaints for Jaren's roster. Solid A tier. Okay, I know that was really short coming off Matt's roster, like really short, but whatever. Let's move on to the last YouTuber. Now for our final YouTuber, Crisp. Looking at the roster, it's pretty good, though it has a few shortcomings. For starters, while most of the character cuts made sense, there are two I do not agree with, and that's the Aegis and Isabel. And his reasoning is that, and I quote, both of their series were doing fine with one character. But that's really the only complaint I have. The newcomers are just chef's kiss. Now before I give this roster the A tier it deserves, let me scrub to 727 in particular real quick. Oh. This abomination of a roster cut drops an otherwise A tier roster to D tier, and I wish I was kidding. You cutting Olimar and adding no replacement was bad enough, but your reasoning had to be based off bias instead of actual character design in-game. At least I think so. Thankfully, he released an updated roster, and he actually kept Olimar this time. But good god, I cannot let that pigment slander go unpunished. Also, this roster is just a bit too big, barely cutting any characters. So for the time being, I'm putting Crisp in D tier. Once he serves his time for his crimes against pigmanity and is free from the prison of D tier, I'll move him to B tier. And that is indeed that. All 11 YouTubers ranked based off their custom Super Smash roster for the next game. I don't know, man. I ranked all the YouTubers, but I still feel like something's missing. Wait. I know what it is. Remember back in Marvelous Matt's section when I was talking about Bioshock being a masterpiece, but then it cut to someone and his friends talking shit about Bioshock? Well, that was someone by the name of the Socks Box. And that was a clip from when he and his friends were making a tier list of who they want to see in the next Smash Bros. Game. Now, this really isn't a Smash Bros. Roster per se, but I don't think I'm gonna get another opportunity. An opportunity to tear this abomination of a tier list into millions of pieces. So to end this video on a more climactic note, I'm going to use facts and logic to destroy this horrific tier list. Hold on tight, guys. I'm not gonna hold back. So starting off this tier list at the bottom, we can see so many characters that deserve to be in Smash Bros. Get put in D tier and E tier. Big Daddy was one example, obviously, but we also have Shantae, Master Chief, Vault Boy, Tom Nook, and Officer Howard. And the reasons as to why these characters are low tier are fucking stupid. For example, the sole reason as to why Shantae is D tier is because, and I quote, and shit you not, her games look like the ones I made when I was 11 using Game Maker 6.0.
Every time I've seen gameplay of Shantae games, the only thing that comes to mind is like, wow, I made games just like this when I was 11 using Game Maker 6.0. It does not look like it's the most mid-looking platformer.
What the fuck? Well, maybe the upper tiers are better. Are you joking me? Yes, this is a running theme in this tier list. Bad character choices that don't deserve to be in Smash Bros. Are ranked higher than characters who actually deserve to join Smash Bros. Some examples of characters who are in B tier are as follows. The Google Chrome T-Rex, the Run Alien, the Mad Piano from Mario 64, the horse from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, the bird from Mario Maker, and the Peggle Unicorn. It also doesn't help that characters like the T-Rex, the Run Alien, and the Mad Piano are all in this here for the same reason. It would be funny. I also can't believe these guys put Shantae in D tier because they claim her games look amateurish, but then they put the Google T-Rex in B tier. If you think that the Shantae games look more amateurish than the Google Chrome T-Rex game, you are slow in the head. If you think that the T-Rex is a better choice for Smash Bros. Than Shantae, you are even slower in the head. If you think that Shantae is a bad pick while the T-Rex is a good pick, you are the slowest in the head. Well, at least B tier has some good picks, with characters actually deserving a smash, like Cat from Gravity Rush, Coach from Left 4 Dead, Dante, Crash, and Leon Kennedy. So who's in A tier? Are you fucking joking me? Yes, even when there are actually good characters deserving to join Smash Bros. That are ranked higher or on par with the bad choices, the good choices themselves are outranked by more bad character choices in A tier. Characters such as Dr. Doomstack, Labo Man, The Sims, Mauser, and the fucking Pong Ball! Not even the Pong Ball with the pedals. Literally just the ball! How do these guys find a half-genie hybrid that can belly dance to transform into mythical creatures, a steampunk diving suit monster from an underwater city, a 1960s underwater city, that is, a space-age marine who fought aliens and is from one of the most iconic video games of all time, a cute animated cartoon character who not only is a great contrast between the grittiness of the actual Fallout games, but has been shown to have many abilities thanks to the special cartoons, and a cyberpunk-era police officer with a link to the astral plane, less worthy of Smash Bros. Than a fucking white square! Good lord. At least there are actually rational character choices here like Doomslayer and Shovel Knight. What about S tier? The penultimate tier. Are you fucking joking? Yes, despite the fact Doomslayer and Shovel Knight are ranked high, they are still outranked by the fucking duck from Duck Life, the motherfucking Tetris block, the goddamn sandbag, some weird-ass head in a box, and Mario and Luigi as one fucking character! Like, why not have Fawful? Why not have him be the Mario and Luigi rep? Why must we have Mario and Luigi, two characters that are already in Smash Bros, be conjoined and take up a roster slot instead of giving original Mario and Luigi new moves based on Mario and Luigi? Nonetheless, we reach Omega S tier. And do you want to know which character they put at the very tippy top, above everyone else? Flippy from Toontown. I bet some of you don't recognize this guy, so let me fill you in. Toontown was an MMO web game made by Disney. It's a virtual world where you can interact with other real people who have animal avatars, and you can play minigames and win money to buy all sorts of stuff. Does this seem familiar? Well, it should. Because it's Club Penguin with a new coat of paint! Except Toontown is so much less popular and iconic than Club Penguin. Hey, it's me in the editing phase. So I actually realized, during the, making of this video that Toontown actually came out before Club Penguin. So technically speaking, Club Penguin is Toontown with a new coat of paint and not the other way around. However, I do think my, thoughts on Club Penguin being more iconic than Toontown still stand. Anyway, back to the video. Yet these hypocritical motherfuckers put the Penguin from Club Penguin in B tier! On the same level as the fucking Google T-Rex! That's another thing, actually, where some character choices are outclassed by far worse characters in the same general class. An example is Pablo Sanchez from Backyard Baseball being ranked lower than Putt-Putt for humongous entertainment characters. Overall, this tier list is appalling. Like, everything about this tier list is so disgusting and horrible. Characters that deserve to join Smash Bros. Get shunned in favor of characters that don't deserve to be in Smash, and then characters that do deserve to be in Smash Bros. That are ranked higher or on par with these bad choices get outranked themselves by more bad choices, and it keeps repeating until everyone is outranked by the mascot of a less iconic Club Penguin. Or we could just be a joke tier list. Really? Would you spend 8 fucking hours making a tier list just for a joke? Really? It's full of bad choices. The reasons for the character rankings are stupid. It's hypocritical. It doesn't try to be objective. It's so tall you have to shrink it to make it fit on screen, making the characters tiny. It's ugly. It's hideous. It sleeps with your wife. It assassinated Abraham Lincoln. It was an infamous Nazi general. Its few good aspects are found in other better tier lists. It's atrocious. This tier list is a disgrace to not just Smash Bros, but to gaming as a whole, to the point where Socks doesn't deserve the privilege to be on this tier list. He deserves to be in a separate Google Doc in a trash can JPEG. God fucking Reddit! Sorry. Almost lost my cool there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was my tier list, and, I think I did a pretty good job. Let me know in the comments 3 things. 1, what your favorite roster was. 2, where you would rank the rosters. And 3, if you want a separate video where I talk about those character choices at the end of Marvelous Matt's section. And, yeah, I just kinda wanted to make this video, discussing some Smash Bros. Rosters that I found interesting and share them with you guys. But that's just about it. For the love of God, don't harass anyone I mentioned in this video, and thanks for watching. Peace out.
On that day when the sky fell away.